The lead story from Monday, July 11th. Yes, I'm back. XAI's Grok 4 achieves the highest artificial intelligence index score, outperforming OpenAI, Google Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Anthropic Claude for Opus. In extensive benchmarks, Grok 4 executes and excels notably in coding, mathematics, and advanced reasoning tasks despite moderate speed and pricing. I want to welcome you to episode 1831. I'm your host, Todd Cochran. Yeah, big here, big deal out of Grok and their update. Lots of praise going around, even for developers who are using Grok to correct code, and so the extensive reporting by the folks at Artificial Analysis say that this thing is really knocking it out of the ballpark. And we know that Grok 4's pricing is equivalent at about um, $3 to $15 per million, 1 million input output tokens via an API, and that price per token pricing is identical to Claude 4 Sonnet, but more expensive than Gemini 2. So, I have not used Grok very much whatsoever. But this is the first time that XAI has led the AI frontier. Grok 3 scored competitively with the latest models from OpenAI, but Grok 4 is the first time that the intelligence index has shown XAI in first place. Now, we expect these types of bouncing back and forth scores to happen as models come out. But one thing that's super notable here is that um, it's getting praise, huge praise across the industry for what it's able to do, and it's working at they're saying at the PhD level, and some have went so far as to say it feels like AGI. Now, I don't know if I would go that far at this point, but this is what people are referring to, and they definitely have a good, it's got a good index score. So again, but the difference is marginal, a couple of points higher than other models. So pretty amazing stuff here. I'm not surprised with the amount of money being spent. Of course, um, X has now been acquired by XAI, which is interesting in itself, and the departure of their CEO at X here recently. Have you been using Grok? I'd love to hear from you if you have, and what you feel has been the results thereof. Hey, I want to welcome you again to episode 1831. I'm your host. And a shout out to our incredible sponsors at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. To all our listeners, of course, you are the heartbeat of this show. If you want to support GNC, head to geeknesscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We're live or lit and live. Don't just listen, experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app from podcastapps.com. And of course, you can interact in real time. And of course, you can check out the full Geek Central universe at geeknesscentral.com, where, of course, you'll find all of our partner shows and tons of new content. The writing team has been busy over there, and we want you to stay in the loop. Follow and subscribe to the podcast via your favorite podcast app. Again, subscribe to the show. And don't forget, we've got a newsletter over there as well. You can sign up for the newsletter, which I do send out upon every publishing of the episode. You can join the conversation at geeknews.chat or send me an email at geeknews@gmail.com. You can hit me up on X at Geek News, and of course, you can catch me on Facebook as well. And as a listener of this show, we want to thank you for your ongoing support of our sponsor, GoDaddy. And you can get all kinds of great deals and services, again, by going over to our website at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. Go over there and get yourself a great, great deal. Let's start with a website that you can host a podcast on. GNC codes make it easy and affordable. Grab GoDaddy's economy hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's a full year hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. If you're interested in WordPress, which is my favorite, WordPress managed hosting is just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate as well. If you just need a domain name only, get yours for just $11.99. Of course, GoDaddy Website Builder, you can, for those of you that are completely non-technical, that just need to be completely almost handheld, you can get a 30-day free trial of Personal Business or Business Plus plans. And of course, I use all of the GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use the codes, click and save. You're backing this independent team of creators. Share my codes or website, link with friends and family. That really helps a lot, because every time a code is used, it supports Geek News Central. Thank you for keeping us online and going strong. As I mentioned, and I don't know if I can get into it, um, had a personal issue pop up. I'm healthy. I'm fine. Nothing legal. Nothing crazy. But it just made it impossible to do the show on Monday. So I apologize. I wasn't back with you on Monday. And I'm alive, well, healthy, and everything else. So sorry for missing a couple of episodes here. Sometimes things out of my control happen, and I appreciate your patience, and thank you again for staying subscribed to the show. Got a great stack of stuff today to go through here. One thing I did do, and I get to pick them up today. I've been having issues with my primary glasses, and I don't know if the prescription drifted out, and so I always carry a spare pair of glasses as my backup. Basically, the previous subscription, when I put those on, they were much better than the current prescription. So something has shifted here. So I went and booked an appointment. Well, actually, not even booked an appointment. It was kind of like one of those walk-in places. You're able to do a complete eye exam, the whole 9 yards, about 30 minutes of a traditional ophthalmologist exam, and ordered glasses. And they weren't as nice as these, but the challenge I have with these is because they're frameless, they're starting to separate, and I need to send them back and have them fixed. But I picked up glasses, and all under about, I think all in, I was all in for about $150 with new glasses for everything, the full 9 yards. Now, I have insurance in America, and typically when I get new glasses, the exam is covered. The frames, obviously, I have a bit of a discount because of the insurance, but because frames are so expensive, I usually never walk out of the door under like maybe $300 or something like that. So I'm pretty impressed from that savings per se. So new glasses are ready to pick up. It's been about 7 days. So everything, progressive lenses, transitions, the light, the glasses get darker. Time will tell. I'll have them for the next show, and I'll be able to see how they're working. Little bit of over glare here in the studio, so it bothers me just a little bit when I'm doing the show. So I may have to adjust these lights just a little bit. I did turn them quite a bit, but anyway, things seem to be working. I think I found the secret decoder ring for the Rodecaster and how to not get it to disconnect. It's all about starting your recording at least 10 minutes earlier. Something about that triggers it to disconnect from the computer from time to time. So I'm just double checking here because I didn't refresh Facebook. Now I can see the Facebook comments. So let's talk a little more about XAI. They've unveiled a new $300 per month AI subscription plan. Now, I'm still on OpenAI Pro at $200 a month, and I'm just it's paying huge benefits. I'm getting at least once a week my entire value for that subscription out of that advanced plan. I'm not sure. $300 is that's a big leap. But I just wonder what people are seeing with this new plan with the anticipation of GTV 5, which is coming this summer. I'm definitely not going to sign up for it. But one thing I am really pressing is I'm trying to make sure my coders at my company are starting to test these tools with code snippets and cleaning things up. And I feel that developers at this point are the ones most, at least my opinion so far, are the most resistant to using AI. And I don't fully understand why. If it's not working, it's not working, but at least attempt, try to use and nothing else, QA code or get help with queries, because they've used search for years and years and years to find stuff on GitHub and other locations. So I'm just makes me wonder just a little bit why developers are as resistant as they are to using AI. My production team is all in. At the same time, OpenAI is talking about launching its own web browser, and it could arrive within the week. So they're trying to, of course, Engadget. They definitely have nothing really good to say about a number of these companies. But if they launch their own browser and deeply integrated services into their work lives, this could be a game changer. Now, the browser is slated to have a Chat GPT style chatbot baked in, which completely makes sense. Um, and they're reportedly looking to use the browser to capture more data, which is a strategy that's definitely worked for Google. They've done that for years, so it's nothing new. The browser is said to be designed to keep many reactions within an AI chatbot rather than directing users to websites. Now, this is where, for me, it becomes very concerning for small businesses, and if they do start offering this, it would be following Perplexity, which released a browser with agentic AI functions earlier this week that we missed in the news cycle here. But that browser is only available for those that are on Perplexity's max subscription of $200 per month. So that's a not going to see big penetration on that, largely because of the number of people using that level of a subscription. Now, talking about browsers, there's something here that's very concerning, and it was reported by Ars Technica. And I want all of you really to listen up here. If you're using any extensions in your browsers, browser extensions turn nearly 1 million browsers into web scraping bots. And they've been overriding key security protections, turned browsers into engines that scrape websites on behalf of a paid service. There's 245 extensions available for Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. They've racked up nearly a million downloads. So there's an extensive list, and I looked through this list, and to me, none of them were anything that I recognized. But this is the bad part about this. Of 45 known Chrome extensions, 12 are now inactive. Some of the extensions were removed for malware explicitity. Of 129 Edge extensions incorporating the specific library that's doing this, only 8 are inactive. And of 71 affected by Firefox, only 2 are now inactive. So if you're using Chrome, you have less exposure, but there's an extensive list linked in the article here. So definitely consider going through that list and see if any of the extensions you're using have made the list here. And if they have, please start out with a fresh install of the browser and remove those extensions. So after months and months of battling it out to become the world's most valuable company, and Nvidia briefly held that spot to hit a staggering 4 trillion market cap. It's since dipped to 3.972 trillion, but anyway, hit that $4 trillion value. You might as well just call it 4 trillion based upon stock fluctuation. But huge, huge, huge. First company ever to hit $4 trillion. And if it doesn't show you that the AI stuff is just hotter than ever, then I don't know what you can think of. HBO Max is back. HBO Max says the rebranding to the name that should have never been changed is underway. So, you know, maybe now they can figure out their model. Um, it just doesn't make any sense why they made that change to begin with. But HBO Max is on its way back, and you'll start seeing updates across the websites and so forth over the coming days. So if you're a big Samsung fan, the Galaxy Unpacked 2025, everything Samsung announced, including the the Z Fold 7, the Z Flip 7, and Galaxy Watch 8, are basically have there's great reporting on it here by the folks from Engadget, and you can get all the details on these different devices. Do any of you own a flip phone? Of course, I'm following a flip phone because a modern flip phone. Do any of them have those? And any of you are actually using a Galaxy Watch? I'm kind of curious about that. But anyway, some major updates there on the mobile situation with Samsung, and I will admit that the Fold definitely looks a lot like a tablet to me, and until I saw a picture of this modern one today, I really had no specific interest in picking up one of these phones, but it's becoming more attractive. But here's the problem: $2,000. That's just an insane amount of money. Insane. Major League Baseball will test its robot umpire system at the next All-Star game. The automated ball strike system is being used as a way to challenge calls during it was used as a way to challenge calls during spring training. It's not being used to replace umpires, which would be very, very hard, I think. But the current version of ABS uses Hawkeye, a computer vision system developed by Sony to monitor the exact location of the pitch relative to the batter's strike zone. The league is tested relying on ABC exclusive for calls, but views the ABC challenge system as a good compromise between tradition and technology. Like other possible rule changes, it also adds a new element of strategy with only two opportunities to challenge, and players have to be selective. So I'm not much of a Major League Baseball fan. I know there's often controversies about umpires, but how do you complain and yell at and get in the face of a bot? I don't think you can. In a very interesting move, T-Mobile has ended its DEI programs in an attempt to win approval from the FCC as part of its attempt to acquire the $20 million merger with Frontier. And we know that the current administration is definitely anti-DEI, but they also need regulatory backing to purchase extensive assets of United States Cellular in a deal at $4.4 billion. So they're trying to make this happen. Did any of you pick up anything up on Prime Week on Amazon? I was shopping and did not see any deals. So I don't know. To me, it was underwhelming, the offerings, to be quite frank with you. There was some good Apple stuff, but I needed more Apple computers like I need a hole in my head at this point. NASA's going to lose over 2,000 senior staff due to proposed budget cuts. The 2026 budget will leave the space organization in a difficult position if it's improved. So, of the of over the 2,000 potential departing staff members, nearly all of them are in senior positions, requiring specialized skills or management experience. Those include 1,818 staff serving in mission areas like science or human spaceflight, with the rest performing mission support roles like IT, facilities maintenance, or finance. Said it was a large number of GS 13, 14s, and 15s. Of course, that's where the most of the money is being spent, is on those positions. But if you look at the GSA pay scale, I think you'll consider GS 13 even topped out. Doesn't make that much competitive money as compared to the Open market. And 14s and 15s are similarly placed, but they get incredibly great retirements out of those pay levels. So very, very interesting. But I think the government needs to be cut. The question is, how big of an impact will it be? If you're a Lego fan, Lego's first buildable Decepticon is a talking sound wave. The 1505-piece sound wave set includes sound effects and Ravage and Laser Break cassettes, whatever that means. I don't know what a laser Break cassette is. At $189.99, Soundwave will also be Lego's most expensive Transformer set to date and going on sale in August. And Optimus Prime is currently $179, with the much smaller Bumblebee at $89. So, Lego fans, you have that to look forward to. Qantas confirms a 5.7 million have been impacted by a data breach. So the personal information was compromised. The incident occurred on June 30th. On July 7th, the company announced that hackers made contact, likely for extortion, and roughly 6 million customers' data was stored on a hacked platform. And so they found that names, email addresses, Qantas frequent flyer details. Of those, 1.2 million records only contained names and email addresses. So they had phone numbers, gender information, meal preferences. I don't care if people know what I eat, which I am. By the way, I'm doing very well on my diet. I'll have more to report soon, and some information for you to share with you. Jack Dorsey says his secure Nitbit chat app has not been tested for security. So let me say that again. Jack Dorsey says his new secure new Bit chat app has not been tested for security. He launched this open source chat app this previous Sunday, promising to deliver secure and private messaging without a centralized infrastructure. The app relies on Bluetooth and end-to-end encryption, unlike traditional messaging apps that rely on the internet. By being decentralized, BitChat has potential to being a secure app in high-risk environments where the internet is monitored or inaccessible. Oh, did I just? Oh, that's what I did. So, but it hasn't faced any scrutiny by security researchers. I don't know how this works if it just uses Bluetooth. And how do you talk to other people? He says a work in progress. The latest disclaimer claim after basically they put a disclaimer on this. Do not use it for production use and do not rely on its security whatsoever until it's been reviewed. So maybe maybe it should have been the cart before the horse there a little bit, huh? On the science front, echoes from the Big Bang suggest the Earth is trapped inside a giant cosmic void. Now, this is not the first time. This has been suggested a few times since 1990, but astronomers claim to have found new evidence supporting this controversial observation, is that we're kind of out in the backwoods of anywhere. They say they found claim evidence that Earth and our Milky Way are suspended inside a gigantic void. Of course, they told us last week we were in a black hole. So the proposal made by analyzing echoes of the Big Bang suggests that our galaxy may be floating in a 2 billion light year region that's 20% less dense than average. So, okay, we'll see. Um, Curious observation. And people spend their life analyzing this stuff. The July full moon rises tonight. So the full moon reaches its peak illumination at 46 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Interesting. So it actually happened yesterday. So this is or it happened today on July 10th, your time. The exact time the moonrise takes place, which is around 8:53 p.m. in New York. So take a look at the moon, and the black moon will be the farthest full moon from the sun in 2025. So I guess it's supposed to be darker. How many shades of gray darker? Outlook was down for quite a while, and it's starting to come back online, but they're recovering from a major outage that lasted most of the morning. So, how many of you were impacted by that? Elon Musk is saying that Grok is going to come to Tesla EVs, and so they're going to be putting that um, into Teslas. I'm not surprised. The question is, what happens when Grok gets it wrong? Love to see how that ends up being integrated. If any of you have a Tesla and are willing to admit it, a lot of people don't want to admit they have a Tesla right now. But if you do, and find out details on this, I'd love to have you share it with us so that we can share it with the audience. A McDonald's chatbot. Why does McDonald's have a chatbot? Why is that even a thing? McDonald's chatbot leaked 64 million records with the 123456 password. Oh, it was from a job applicant website. Information about 64 million people applying for jobs at McDonald's has been leaked via Olivia, an AI-powered chatbot created by Paradox.ai to handle hiring. So yeah, you go to apply for McDonald's now, and an AI is analyzing your application. This give Carol access to information including the name, addresses, phone numbers, and email address of job applicants, among other data. Um, Reporting the leak to Paradox was challenging as the company lacked a dedicated security team. So apparently, they finally were able to get through to them and get this patched. Microsoft is doubling down and spending $4 billion to push AI in schools, universities, and more. Microsoft wants to upskill the next generation in AI. And for those of you that listen to the show that have kids, what are you doing with with AI? How how have you got that integrated in your household for your kids? Are you letting your kids use AI? I think there's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't in this regard. But Microsoft's donating $4 billion cash for 5 years to upskill today's youth. AI and cloud skills are lacking in much of the global workforce. Teachers also getting support to help them integrate AI into the classroom. Um, I know there's a lot of cheating going on, but it's a great research tool if you use it as a research tool and backup sources. Um, I can't imagine going to college now and having this available. It would be beyond tempting. I know that they are working on and schools are using, detection technology, but how far does it go? How much would you rewrite? That therein lies the question, and also if a student hires pays for the higher pro model like I'm using and getting the advanced research functions. The advanced research functions, I get all of the sources, and they're basically not in the format that you'd use in school, but you've got the list already pre-built of the sources for the articles for the write up. So I think if I wanted a tactical advantage in college at this point, I would probably be paying for pro just for the high reasoning function and being able to resource uh, sources for articles and so forth. We all know that, and for those that you haven't done any undergraduate work, writing papers in college to me was kind of a joke. It was very, very simple because I knew how to use Google, I knew how to do search, and I was able to pull stuff out and put papers together very, very quickly and source information. And um, so for me, it was one of those things that was never, a big lift as a college student. Of course, I went to college late in life and got my degree, but I think this AI is just going to change everything. Now, the doom and gloomers that said the Trump tariffs were going to ruin everything, they've been a little bit silent recently because everything's went pretty well so far. But the tech side is still worried because tariff uncertainty, and we know that computers are still exempt from the levies that Trump administration introduced, and there's still a threat though because those tariffs could be coming off on August 1st. Now they could be extended again, I guess, depending on how negotiations are going. But I think a lot of people went and got notebooks and so forth when they knew this was going to happen. But again, you've got a few weeks here if you want to be able to pick up a PC with it. Again, who knows what's going to happen? This might be off or not. We could end up with the um, with the tariff situation resolving itself. Love to hear what you think. What's happened with you and purchases? Have you slowed down on purchases because of the perceived higher cost of things? Now, one thing's for sure: Amazon Prime Day. They say that sales plunged 41% on the first day. I would not be surprised. Experts attributed the drop to shoppers delaying purchase in anticipation of better deals during the extended 4-day event. Um, Amazon said, of course, they were pleased by the engagement. And according to the numbers provided, Adobe kickoff numbers surpassed Thanksgiving of 2024 of 6.1 billion. But I really didn't need anything, to be honest with you. I really did not. And what I looked for is I have certain stuff that I have subscriptions for. I have a subscription to a heartburn medicine, and I have subscriptions to my sugar monitoring system. And I looked to see if there was any discounts on that, if I could lock in cheaper pricing. And of course, there were none of that. I will say this too. Having been monitoring now my oh, by the way, I had one sensor fail, so I'm going to run out of sensors before I come home. Stello did replace it, but it failed after 24 hours, which was quite annoying. They sent me a replacement. The one I'm using, for those of you that are not aware, is Stello. It's $50 every 15 days or $100 a month. Um, just the awareness I've learned so much in a month. Um, I think any of you with type 2 diabetes that do not, I'm telling you, if they could come on and be a sponsor, I would be a great spokesperson for this. If if you have type 2 diabetes and you're not pricking every day and seeing where your levels are at, or pricking multiple times a day, as some have to, this monitoring tech, I feel I can probably within 2 or 3 months, maybe even 4 months, completely learn what I had been doing wrong and knowing what price I pay for what type of food I eat, and how to. um, also time my metformin um, pill from being able to. I'm supposed to be on a time release, but I'm going to tell you, that I'm on a 12-hour time release metformin, so I take two a day. And if I used to wake up in the morning and take that pill immediately because it was already 12 hours, but I often didn't eat for 2 or 3 hours later. Much, much better to hold for 2 or 3 hours. You take that first meal of the day to take that pill, and then in the evening, take the second one, not even 12 hours in when you have your evening meal. And even though there might have only been 9 hours separation, has a dramatic effect the on your blood sugar. And my levels, like this morning, um, for those of you that are aware of these type numbers, a normal range is 70 to 180. I'm right now at 92, and I've been 90 in the 90s since about almost 12 hours ago. And I haven't ate yet this morning. Here about 12 hours ago when I had my last meal, which I jumped up to about the 120 range, but I have not gotten close to 180. Um, I got close once about 3 days ago, um, close to 180, and I have the event logged on what triggered that. Eh, Here in the Philippines, rice is definitely huge, but if you do a protein in a rice, um, the rice really doesn't have much of an effect, but it's just amazing. It really is, and it's going to be interesting when I go back to the United States and eating food that maybe is a restaurant or prepared to see what the effect is, because I was having a hard time initially getting the sugar down um, with when I was first on this. And to be quite frank, um, American food is just so full of bad stuff. It's just unbelievable. Like here, I know I always knew my sugar was better when I was here. I could just tell physically, and it it's just because there's not a lot of processed food here. Everything is made fresh. Um, so again, I'm telling you, if it's not in your budget, please try. If you're a type 2 diabetic, I implore upon you to do this for 1 month, just 1 month, and you're going to see a major, major, major difference. All right, millions of cars exposed to remote hacking via what's called the Perfect Blue attack, and researchers conducted an analysis of the Blue SDK Bluetooth framework developed by Open Synergy and found several vulnerabilities. The Perfect Blue hack was demonstrated against recent infotainment models shipped from Mercedes-Benz, Skoda, and Volkswagen, as well as products made by another unnamed OEM that was only recently made aware of the findings. So there's CVEs out on this, but if you again, this is I don't know the extent of the attack, but they say that this could allow remote code execution. IKEA has launched two cheap Bluetooth speakers, including a retro throwback with a handy Spotify trick. There's the start of another IKEA smart home push. So they're ugly. I'll be honest with you. These speakers, maybe for a teenager, but for an adult, does an adult want? Wait till you see these things. They're really ugly. I guess I'm just I like modern stuff. It is a retro throwback, but it's ugly. I mean, it's really, really ugly. 49.99 won't set you back too far though. So everyone's making fun of the interim NASA administration. President Trump announced that Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and of course, they're taking shots at him of being a reality TV star. Um, Isaacman said, short of a new nominee, this was a great move. NASA needs political leadership from someone the president trusts and has confidence in, wishing Secretary well an important endeavor. So I guess he's going to dual hat. So is I think he was in transportation. Is he going to move from transportation or stay in transportation? I guess he's going to do dual hat. So a lot of criticizing still going out there for sure. Last couple of articles here, and don't leave. Apple, man, they're planning a whole new MacBook lineup with the M5. So if you're thinking if you've got an M1, M2, and you're thinking about the jump, the M5 stuff is looking pretty extensive across the entire product line. So don't upgrade early. But probably this stuff won't be available until early 2026 if you can wait that long. But a big jump. I'll tell you my situation here with the studio and everything that I was having challenges with last time has completely resolved itself. And it's really purely now the Roadcaster that is giving me issues, but I definitely found the hack. The camera's working great. I have two cameras going on. I've got this camera that I'm using here, and I've switched that to a beautiful PTZ optics camera that I'll probably transport back and forth with me. I'll probably use it at home and then bring it back here when I come back next time because it's pretty expensive. And then I have the teleprompter and the camera on that, and different focal view, and it's working out terrific. Everything's working. Uh, yeah, I this was the right move to bring the Mac Studio with me. I don't like the idea of transporting it back and forth, but at the cost of that machine, I'm just going to transport it home and I'll bring it back. No sense in having a second computer here when I'm not here. The next time I'm gone, I'll be away for about 60 days. I'll be back in the States for at least 60 to 90 days, and so I'm very, very happy with the setup here. OBS is working like a charm. Again, everything I wanted to do the first trip in this new setup is working great. Just a few tweaks here and there. Green screen stuff is working out well. I've even got a pretty good, depending on the type of shirt I wear, is if the keying works good. OBS keying is definitely not as good as the TriCaster because there's still just a tiny a bit of bleed around my head, and every amount of tweaking I've done has not helped it. But yeah, I'm pretty jazzed with the setup here. All right, this is going to bring us to the end of the show. Geeknews@gmail.com, at Geek News on Twitter. Don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Yeah, continue. I will plan to continue to do shows here as scheduled. There should be no more interruptions before my departure in early August. And even then, I think I'm traveling on days where I will not miss an episode. I think that'll be good. If you so feel inclined, feel to support the show, um, definitely consider geekcentral.com/insider. One-time donations are great as well. We appreciate it when you do make those one-time donation. It goes greatly to helping the podcast. Share the show with your friends and family. Share my sponsor with friends and family as well. Again, thank you for staying subscribed and following the show. It's been my pleasure being the podcast. We'll be back here Monday, even though it's going to be recorded late for another edition of the Geek News Central